Bulls Buddies, hello and welcome to another look back at a classic game from the archives, and I'm hoping that you don't mind me being a little bit self-indulgent today. It's not often that I get the chance to tell you about games I've played on television and some of the things that were going on in the mind and all the rest of it. So hopefully this might be interesting. I'm sure many of you will have seen this game anyway, but maybe not with the little bit of insight that I'm going to try and give you about the game as it played out. So guys, thanks for joining me. Remember, if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button, and if you're not already a Balls Buddy and a member of this wonderful community of ours, please hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free of charge, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for notifications of new content on the channel. So the game I'm talking about, of course, is the game from the 1996 Bassmasters first round held at the Rakes between myself and Robert Crawshaw. So just to set the scene a little bit, Robert Crawshaw, one of the top players of that particular era, the 80s and 90s. Robert was a prolific winner. I think he'd won something like 11 big competitions that year. I think the season before he'd won an inordinate amount of competitions. A Bassmasters winner. Good question. I can't remember what year it was. It was very early on in the Bassmasters history, and always one of the players that television liked. An intelligent guy, well spoken, could speak his mind, could analyse games, and along with Roy Armson, John Bancroft, Bob Crawshaw, Robert Crawshaw, was one of those players that television turned to for sort of analysis. We'd both done pretty well in the Rakes, the Talbot competition that year. I think we were both still going. We might have been both in the last 32, and I'd watched Robert a lot on there. The green was in good condition up until maybe the week before the Bass, when I think it had been overwatered and you got quite a lot of bumps, and you could actually see the balls leaving the ground at some point, especially when people were striking. But it was generally quick, and Robert, fantastic short mark player. That was his go-to game, maybe 25 yards, put them close, let you worry about it. Unfortunately, that was also my sort of game. So in 1996, at this particular time, I would have been 22 years old. I'd have been playing on the circuit for maybe 5-6 years, and every year setting out to try and achieve my aim of qualifying for the Bassmasters. And 1996, I'd finished university. I hadn't managed to get a job yet, and me and my friends had decided we were going to have a summer holiday to Ibiza and have it large, as they say. So of course the only week in my calendar that was empty was the Bassmasters week. So we went ahead and booked a holiday, and I promptly 2 weeks later went and won the Bunbury Classic, first time of asking. 256 entry, big green, last 32. Wasn't for me, not the sort of competition I generally do well in, but sometimes you just take to a green, and the green was a little bumpy, and I was playing with some 214s that I won as runner-up in the Junior All England a few years earlier. And these 214s were absolutely immense. They just rode the bumps so well. Beat some really good players in that final day, culminating in beating Alan Broadhurst 21-6 in the final. And I'd found a little mark up a ridge, and he just couldn't get it, and maybe with my silly delivery, I don't know, but he's always had a bit of a go at me since then, calling me a ridge bowler and a channel bowler and all the rest of it, but well. So I'd qualified for the Bass. Holiday cancelled, just my luck. And then it got really exciting. I got a letter through the post with the Granada thing on and Bass, and I had to ring somebody and they were asking me shoe size and shirt size and all the rest of it. And then I got a phone call from Granada. They wanted to interview me, and it was just like I don't know, it was everything I thought it would be to be a professional sportsman. Having interviews, and newspapers were involved, and it was just great. And then a pack came through the post with all your tickets in, and passes and parking permits and all the rest of it, and it said turn up on such a day, the green's available for practice. And it felt really special, just like I thought it would. And then the day came and the nerves were jangling, and I didn't hear any of the intro, so all the jokes about anorexia and basically calling me a fat person, didn't hear any of that. Just on the green, cameraman on the green, it was weird. Quickly got over the nerves though. Anyway, get on with the game, have a watch of this, and we'll talk about what happened and the aftermath. So enjoy, it's about half an hour long, enjoy this little bit of a game.
Well, there's Big Andy weighing in at about 18 stone. Just look at the size of him. 12 and a half is the foot measurement as well, so it was rather difficult to find some shoes for him this week. Certainly winning his battle against anorexia. Let's have a look at his opponent then, Robert Crawshaw. Got a pretty good record in the Bass Masters. Out of 10 games played, he's lost only 4. He was our champion in 1985. A bowls maker, 37 years of age, so he's got 15 years more experience than Andy. And Robert very determined this week, and that is reflected by the current score, which sees him leading by 8 chalks to 2. As we join our commentary team, Roy Armson and Hugh Johns.
Well, it's 10 chalks on the board in 8 ends. We're in the 9th now, so it's been fairly tightish. 1 for Andy Cairns. Now that's a good end to win, because that was a run of 5 chalks in a row for Robert Crawshaw, and he's managed to stop that little gallop. Needs to get himself back into the game now. Robert, this his 6th Bass Masters. That said, he's a former winner. Beat Brian Duncan in the final of 1985 over at the Woodlands at Ellesmere Port. Robert last year in this Bass went out in the quarterfinal to John Bancroft. He was a bit fortunate. I remember in the second round getting past Gary Smith, who had the winning of it with right at the end, but he failed with his last bowl, and Crawshaw went through 21-20 in the second round to the quarterfinals. But he did not bowl this green at all well in his quarterfinal, Roy, did he?
No, he didn't, Hugh. I think it's fair to say that Robert Crawshaw was the player of the year in 95. He won 10 competitions, and he was hopeful that he would emulate that this year, but thus far he hasn't been able to do that. He hasn't played quite as well this year. I think he maybe devoted more time to his business, his bowls business down there in Stockport. But what a good lead from Andy Cairns. Round peg up the side of the green, about 29 yards, finger peg, bias towards the ditch. Very good lead.
It's going to be underneath from Crawshaw. This is the sort of mark that I remember Tony Poole making use of in so many tournaments, holding down the edge of the green. That's a couple of fair bowls from Big Andy. That's down underneath again.
Go again.
Gone. Got both of them wrong.
Cairns, 2.
Well, let's change the picture somewhat. Andy going back from whence he came, again with a curly mark. His thumb peg with the bias again towards the ditch. And the slope of the green assists the bias, but the weight was a bit too heavy there.
Yes, I think this is not very far, Hugh. It's about 26 yards, so I don't think it's quite as far as what he intended to send the jack.
Crawshaw.
Marker Terry Ashcroft indicates that Crawshaw's on. That's over and through. Too heavy. 18 stone of bone and muscle propelling that little tiny object rather too strenuously. That'll count for 2.
Crawshaw, 2.
So a wasted opportunity for the Leeds University undergraduate. Robert on a mark now that I remember him playing very successfully last year. Got to push up over these last couple of yards because it's a bit slower there. That's a very good lead.
I think Andy will be aware of this, Hugh, because both these players are in the final day of the Talbot Championship, which takes place on this green. In other words, they've both won 6 rounds, so they've spent quite a bit of time on the green.
Well, it's Robert holding 1 and looking as though he's creeping in for 2.
And what we may see here is Andy Cairns' phenomenal striking power. I think, along with Paul Strutt, these two players are the hardest strikers in the game.
Well, we look for the signal.
A foot and 15 in. Okay.
Yep.
Watch your feet when it comes in.
Well, he's removed some of the woodwork, but leaves 1.
Crawshaw, 1.
Leaves 1 to count for Robert Crawshaw. There's a fair bit of power on that one, Roy.
Yeah, he certainly strikes hard, and he wanted to get the 2 together, but he'll be satisfied with that. He's cut the count down.
So, 11-7. Again, the thumb peg mark. Cut that one tight. Weight was good. That's a good road. Beauty. Given that one a better chance. just out. Now, Andrew, can you remember what you did with the first one? The road was right. But left the weight behind.
Cairns.
And he's angry with himself. So 8-11 off the mat. Andrew Cairns. Promptly heads back for the side of the green mark. Thumb peg, round peg mark. Bias towards the ditch, which will join up at the slope of the green now to bring the bowl down. Robert Crawshaw. Roy was saying earlier that last year was one of his best years. It was in fact last year that he qualified for the Bass, winning the Cairns Open, beating that very, very fine Yorkshire bowler, Alan Thompson. Wallop! Close. Yes. Well, well, well. That is a belter.
Yes, I think we have to warn the cameraman when Andy's about. Gets the jack right off the green, almost disappeared right into the camera lens.
Well, I was saying just now, there's 18 stone of bone and muscle propelling what? A little object weighing about £2 12 ounces. He could be a fair shot putter, I think, this chap, if he turned his mind to it.
Yes, indeed. Coming back on his mark now, finger peg, 28 yards, round peg. I think he's a little bit overplayed this way.
Road looks right, all about weight now. Good enough to win it. Heavy. Gone out, so chance for two here. Should just about make it. No, it turned away.
Looks like two.
Yeah.
Crawshaw.
Two it is.
Two.
So Robert goes out to that patch of green that he seems to favour, Roy. He likes that area over there.
He hasn't gone as far this time with the jack. He's playing finger peg just to the left hand side of the crown. As we've said before, it is a push up this way. He's 4 foot short with that ball, and he's coming inside, I think. No, unlucky.
Oh, he's pushed the Crawshaw bowl to where Robert planned to put it in the first place. That's better. A lot of work to do for Andrew here.
Is he here?
Not going to arrive.
Crawshaw. Two.
There's a certain amount of frustration and anger being exhibited by Andrew Cairns, with himself, I have to say, with himself, which probably isn't a very good thing. He's letting that get to him, ruffling his composure.
Yes, it is a hallmark of of his game. Of course, he's only 22 years of age. I have watched him on several occasions. One occasion when he was in the semi-final of the Waterloo, and it is something that has developed in his game. I think probably, if there is a fault with his game, and it's, as I say, he's only young, he plays his second ball a bit too quickly. He's not quite sure what he needs to do.
Very narrow. Weight looks good there. Crawshaw. A useful flat green bowler as well as lawn, and it's one of the tricks of the trade that he picked up on flat green, getting what they call a wick.
Almost a chop and lie, that.
Watch, here we go again. Well, he's knocked himself out, as Andrew this time, and he's left 2 on the green, and they are both grey, and that means 2 more for Crawshaw. Wow. I'm afraid Andrew is beating himself as much as Robert Crawshaw is beating him. I mean, Robert is bowling very, very well. Andrew is not really giving himself a real chance. Robert, a Cheshire county bowler, and Andrew, North Lancs and Fylde, comes from Rossendale.
Andrew's gone the other way in here, Hugh. Gone thumb peg.
Peg.
He's got a better length this time.
Sun shining beautifully here at Blackpool. Lovely morning, what, 11:45? And a lot more cracking bowling in the Bassmasters Classic here throughout the course of the day. Still plenty of room if you're in the Blackpool area and you want an afternoon in the sun, watching a great sport played by some great players. Why not come down and join us here at the Rakes Hotel? Andrew Cairns, a careworn young man at the moment, but he has managed to pick up 2 on that end.
I think his only chance now at this stage of the game is to lengthen it. I feel that Robert, the only time that Robert struggles is when players take him in the corners, but he isn't doing it. He's actually bringing him down to the faster part of the green. He's still playing these shorter lengths, about 28 yards finger peg, and it's all downhill now.
Not a bad lead at all. Lay down flat when he got there. Good weight, lovely land, fine bowl. Andrew having a look at that one from close range. Unlucky son. So Robert is counting 18-10 at this precise moment of time. If he gets a single, gets another one to add to that single, he'll feel well pleased. But he's left that one on the mat.
Crawshaw, 1.
Poor ball. 18-10 though. Robert Crawshaw leaves. A pretty formidable task that young Andrew Cairns now faces. Andrew, who qualified for this tournament by winning the Bunbury Classic this year, taking out again a very experienced bowler, Alan Broadhurst, in the final, absolutely destroyed him, 21-6. So that was a fine scalp.
Yes, I think, as I say, having watched Andrew, I think it's either a feast or a famine here. He's either absolutely brilliant or he's wayward.
Well, he's got plenty of years of bowls ahead of him. Only 22. Well bowled, Robert. He's holding 2. Here goes the banger again. The big hammer. Straight through the hole. So that 2 puts Robert Crawshaw within inches of a place in the second round. Andrew Cairns very, very slowly advances up to view at close range the fact that he's just dropped another 2. So, all but 10. Robert Crawshaw looking good for a second round place. In the previous matches in the Bass Classic, he's only failed to get past the first round once. That was in 1986 when Glyn Cookson beat him. It's fair to say that Crawshaw could very well be one of those who will feature in the late stages of this tournament, Roy.
He was very strongly fancied at the start. A lot of people put money on him. Yes, and he was only 8-1 for the title.
Very nearly had the winner with that bowl, but Andrew is holding 1 here. So just again, he feels he might just have a chance. Ooh, good job he didn't touch the jack then, because if he had, he'd have given it away. 1 for Andrew Cairns. That was a dangerous bowl, Roy.
It certainly was, yes. He had to try it, but he was just overplayed, and I think this is the thing he should have been doing a long time ago. Going a long way. Going into the heavier part of the green now. Playing finger peg. About 38 yards into this corner. Don't get below the jack.
Yeah, he's got to believe the jack, and didn't really give the bowl, the bias on the bowl, a chance to work for him then. I think that's winning it at the moment, but not sure that's the sort of bowl you want to win a tournament. Little touch. Oh, what a lovely little bit of fat that was. Surely that would bring a smile to the face of Andrew Cairns. Yes, it did. Apologetic smile, I think.
Now see if Robert can strike.
He's put a little running in that one. It's flying past.
Cairns, 1.
Well, it's been a long time since Andrew Cairns kept the block on the mat in his control for 2 ends in a row. Well, he's going a distance with this one.
Yes, this is a difficult mark here. He's playing thumb peg right over the crown of the green, and the jack is only just 5 feet on. But I think he's got quite a decent lead going here. No, it's shorter than I thought. It's 2 yards off.
It's underneath, but no, the blue ball I think is still closest of the two. Still an awful long way off, but this will be closer. Run another yard. That's about 2 foot, 2'6" from a distance of what, 46, 47, 48 yards. That's got some running in it. It's underneath though. Well, it's one for certain to Andrew Cairns. Yes, one it is.
One.
Well, 3 singles on the trot. Andrew goes back, thinking perhaps that he might just now have found a mark that he would have done well to exploit much earlier in the game.
Yes, he's playing finger peg here, right through the centre of the green. It's a very difficult peg, this is. It's all uphill. I think actually the other way in is the better peg. It's almost straight at the jack. But he's not too bad, about 5 feet off.
4 feet off.
Has that got the running? Not reaching.
You've got. That's why you're knocking. You've got to knock that a foot.
Yeah, he's going in the other way now. He's all right. He's gone through nicely, but oh, I think that's run way out.
You're unlucky to knock it in anyway. Of course, you couldn't do a peg on.
Now, Robert, can he win it with this bowl?
I think he's narrowed, Hugh. I don't think he'll count with that.
No way. No way.
Cairns, 2.
Crikey. 2. Well, a little run of 5 chalks since Andrew decided to use the big diagonal.
Yes, who knows what could have happened if he'd have tried this earlier, Hugh.
That's
But
right.
has he sent the jack off here?
Oh, he has. Yes, he has. Oh, Andrew. And his face tells the story. He's furious with himself. Oh, dear. Well, I wouldn't mind having a very strong bet that we shall not see Robert putting the ball anywhere near this corner.
Yes, this is one of Robert's favourite pieces on the green. Thumb peg, just cutting the crown, just underneath the crown, about 27 yards.
Now, Andrew, that's going to be a fair ball. Yeah. Nothing much wrong with that. Robert, you set the jack. Can you find it? No. No, Andrew, it's a wasted opportunity. So Robert Crawshaw has the match-winning bowl in his hand. He thinks. Let's see. That's gone out. So
Cairns! One!
Andrew's got another one. Would you believe it? Just these two, when you look at them, you've got a little enlarged situation here, really, isn't you? Make up your mind which you think is the large one. Well, that's deep in the corner, Roy. That really is a distance.
Yes, that's finger peg, round peg. He's certain to reach with this bowl. That's a good lead.
Oh, what a lead! I tell you what, that's going to take some beating. Robert will be lucky to win the match on this.
Robert's gone the same way, but he's inside the line. He's going to narrow away.
You got Crawshaw getting a little bit worried about this.
Well, I think if Andrew counts this end, certainly danger signals will be looming for Robert, and he will begin to feel the pressure.
He won't be far away with this, you know. It dropped shorter than I thought. That's gone out. It's two. It's two. Yep. Well, what a remarkable situation. 10-20. Andrew was behind at the end of what, 20 ends. And here at 26 ends, there's only two chalks in it.
And he's taken much more care with the placing of the jack on this occasion. There's no way he's going to send that jack off here. Playing about 42 yards, thumb peg. He's got the jack just a little bit round the corner. Mustn't get narrow here.
Now, Andrew, if you can count a couple on this end. Robert Crawshaw will be tearing his hair out. That's a fair lead, you know, from that distance. Robert Crawshaw then. The road looks good. What about the weight? Had to hit. When you think about it, Rob Crawshaw has been trying to win this game for, what, 8 to 10 innings? Now, Robert, have you got a winner this time? No, he slapped that mat against his hand. That's a mile away. Absolute country mile away. Well, we've got to come back and see this in a moment. We'll see the finish. Never anything like it. This young man, Andrew Cairns, was totally destroyed. He was losing. 20-10. And he hasn't stopped scoring since. 20-20.
It's a very difficult peg that he's going here, finger peg. But he's only about 5 feet off. If Robert doesn't change his peg, he's not sure to beat that ball.
Well, Robert, surely you've got to find one. He's underneath, well underneath. Well out.
All right, he's gone.
Well, Robert Crawshaw has one ball left if he's going to win this match. Andrew Cairns is holding a match-winning line at the moment.
And Andrew will play the same peg, play finger peg, just try and promote his own bowl here, I think.
Where's this going to start? The road looks right. I tell you what, the road looks beautiful. What? Oh, the weight. Gone out. He wanted to put extra pressure, but Robert Crawshaw to stay. He's done it wrong. It's gone way out. Absolute dreadful ball. And the young man from Rossendale, Andrew Cairns, has won this match. Wow, what about that? 11 shots in a row this boy has taken. 20-10 down he was, and he has picked it up 21-20. Amazing.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I've got a feeling it something like the biggest ever comeback on television, I don't know. So 21-10 down, 20-10 down, managed to run out. And I'll be honest with you, the whole game was a big struggle for me mentally. The pressure of playing on television, the pressure of having a big crowd, having a camera only a few feet away from you was immense. And all game, certainly in the first 2/3 of the game, I'm really trying to hold myself together, because I was on the verge of losing it like I used to do when I was a lot younger. And I felt I didn't really give myself the best representation of my abilities in the game, and at all but 10 I'd not given up, just relaxed. And I remembered a conversation with Charlie Tattersall, who was there during one of the warm-up practice sessions earlier in the week. And I was playing the corner that I finished the game in, but I was playing it the other way in. And he said, you know, if you play it the other way, finger peg rather than thumb, you'll pinch chalks. So it's a lot more difficult. They don't get on the road, and they're less likely to turn over because they're on telly. They don't want to miss the road and look silly. And that was in the back of my mind when I got hold of the jack. I thought, well, this is the last chance, just relax, just see how we go. And to be fair, I didn't play any better in that comeback. I thought Robert just relaxed too much, obviously saw the winning line and thought, well, I'm bound to get this one at some point. And sometimes that one's the hardest one to get. After the game, I've cut the interviews out because a bit toe curling. They whisked me away to Blackpool Tower Circus, where they got a flame eater and a guy that walked over glass, and I pushed a bamboo pole into his windpipe. All very interesting. It didn't help me though, because I was supposed to be playing in a final of a cup game that night. I wanted to get off. Anyway, they kept me hanging about, and they did the filming. Then they said, right, one last thing, we want you to do, we were going to set up 6 jacks, there's 6 balls there, we want you to hit them one after the other, bam bam bam. So yeah, no problem. So it's the first 4, just about to send the 5th ball. They said, hold on, we're going live, over to Elton and Roy in the so they stopped what we were doing, and they did their bit for 15 minutes, and then they said, right, we'll set them up again and we'll film you doing it. Of course, I didn't hit a single one. I had 4 out of 4 the first time, and I got none out of 6 the second time, so that didn't work very well. It was just an amazing experience, incredible really. I played my first game on the Friday, it started on the Thursday, and I made the most of the hospitality, let's just put it that way. I was there on the Thursday, tanked up on free ale, I ate as much food as they'd give me. I just made the most of it. I just enjoyed every second. It was absolutely brilliant, and it was something I'd worked towards all my competitive bowling life. So alright, only 6 or 7 years, but that was what I was striving for. Incredible. I mean, a little story, when I was getting my A-level results, it coincided with the first day of the Bass Masters, and I put off going to collect my results because I was watching the first session of the Bass Masters. That's how important it was to me. I couldn't care less about my A-level results. I wanted to know who was going to get through in the Bass. So it really did have a massive part to play in the life of a crown green bowler, a competitive crown green bowler anyway, somebody who wanted to do well in competitions. And without that, the game it's gone where we are, and it's been the biggest loss, I think, to Crown Green Bowls. It's just amazing how many people stop playing, stop competing, stop travelling. As soon as the Bass went, that was it, that was the end. Television, people keep telling me we don't need it, but you tell me one successful sport in the world that doesn't have television coverage. There isn't one. Anyway, it was a chance to feel like a professional in an amateur sport, and made to feel like a proper sportsman, properly looked after, made to feel special. And maybe for some, you know, Brian Duncan qualified for everyone, John Bancroft was in it most years, Noel Burrows, all the big names are always in it. Maybe it was a bit blasé to them, maybe it was just another competition, but to me, who only ever played in one, it was something really, really special. I look back on this game as, for me, it made a mark, made myself a mark in the game. The following year, winning the Waterloo, obviously built on that, but suddenly people knew Andy Cairns because of what I'd done on the Bass. I'd go around the local pubs and people would come up to me and say, we watched you on the telly last week, fantastic. The second round game I lost to Brian Duncan, it was shown live on a Saturday afternoon, and apparently a lot of the local pubs in Rosendale had it on live and people went in and watched. So I actually played a lot better in that game with Brian, and a little bit disappointed I lost. I just had 10 minutes where I struggled, and again I was just in front playing well, and maybe I saw the winning line, I don't know, but Brian beat me, and can't remember just how far he went. I think he won his next game. Oh yes, but I think he played Lynn Pritchett eventually. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the little insight. It was difficult playing Robert, because, you know, we had such similar games, and we played similar marks. So for me, going in the corners was the last throw of the dice, just to try and make the score look a little bit better than 10. You know, little did I know that I was playing such a difficult mark, and a 2-yard ball wasn't too bad really. So but the experience was something else. The television, just being treated like a professional. Wasn't too keen on Mr. Wellesby's comments, but there we go, there's not a lot you can do, and it certainly wouldn't happen these days, but that's a different thing altogether. Guys, have a great weekend. Hopefully I'll be back on Monday with a Bowlers World Archive. It all depends on how this weekend pans out. Lots to do, but have a great weekend, enjoy the weather, get on the bowling green. If you go to the supermarket, get that mask on, stay safe, and I'll see you for now.